the firmaments.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is where it comes in Genesis, where in Genesis 1:6, he created the firmament on day two, right?
Right.
Placed the lands in between the waters, which is the plane of earth. And you have the first firmament.
Hmm.
Light refracts from the sun created, or the inner earth sun refracts, it's created here. The next up being the second heaven, the second firmament, where is it in the next sorry, I can't even say it, ethereal layer, Mercury and Venus. Men are for Mars, Mercury for Venus. Two halves create one whole. Works like the sun and the moon. On Mercury, we see the light energy, and on Venus, we see the dark energy that is included below.
Hmm.
So in or the next heaven, right? So we're at the third heaven now. We have the layer field, which creates Mars, which is the combination of Mercury and Venus. So Mercury and Venus, one and two, create Mars, being the third. You go to the next one, and then the next layer, you have the Jupiter field, the Jupiter field, which includes the Mars field. So um, on the Jupiter field, we see all the fields that include below. Mars field also includes the Jupiter. So I believe potentially that there may be, when you talk about the stars being in alignment, it's
Hmm.
really just an essence of refracted light that's going through. Because we've seen these real images of what these planets actually look like, and they give that shimmery water type look, right? Where it's
Right.
almost like you're shining a laser light through a water. If you were to take like a plateau or a plate of water,
Hmm.
and you were to put a laser on one other side, the light generated on the other side would look like what we've been seeing these stars looking like, right? Which
Right.
would give essence to the heavens being, or sorry, the firmaments being created of water.
Right.
The last ethereal layer being, which holds Saturn, which is the rings that reflect off of that last firmament, creates the rings of Saturn. And I believe that Saturn being representation potentially either of the son of the or the father, I'm not sure. I'm
Hmm.
struggling with that idea. But the inner earth sun being representation of, I'm going to go with the son of God, Jesus, literal terms.
Yeah.
And then the sun represents Saturn, this representation of God, as in he has dominion over what he has created. The last is that, which is where the stars are held in the last final firmament in what you would see. I just I my head hasn't gotten this far yet in terms of being able to get to the seventh heaven, because this would be the seventh heaven, right?
Sure.
Seven heavens,
Sure. 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 7 layers, basically.
seven layers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is just like another pretty cool drawing that I came across in their stuff,
Mhm.
obviously, and wanted to share. So you have these seven rings, Saturn again here, and the ether is interesting, because the ether, chat about that, is the identification of, sorry, where are we at? 12:27. Cool. Can't believe I smashed that out in 27 minutes, including a chat. um the ether discussion is interesting because it brings to light, as the sun comes out, I love it, the discussion that the moonlight is cooler and the sunlight is hotter, which I believe, and I say that the sun and the moon are ignition type elements, and the ether is always there. It's a gaseous element. The cap is there, the firmament, the lid, right?
Right.
Those gases don't escape.
Yeah.
And the sun and the moon just ignite those gases when they're present in their path. That's why you can like read a book. Somebody brought up, why can you read a book when you're in a shadow, as an example. But it's just the gases are less active in that area that you're sitting in the shadow versus the direct sunlight.
Right.
Is all that fitting in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking at the layers there, it reminds me of when we make simulations, the only thing different between that and what we make is we make them with boxes instead of domes because in engineering, it's always easier to use. It's way easier to use angles
Well,
because
you could
angles can